Good. Then welcome everyone to the first show of, or the first episode of Heart of the Beta here on Definitive Esports. My name is Simon, aka Drool, and I'm here with QXC, Dimaga, and ToD. Hi guys. Before we get into the Heart of the Swarm discussion, I just want to talk about you guys real quick. Just what are you up to right now? ToD, I think you're in the Razor House in California, right?
Yeah, that's right. I came there about 3 weeks ago, and it's been going pretty well. Been practicing a lot, and finally I got some real internet to play with, so I could stream a lot. I streamed some Heart of the Swarm almost every day.
And you also did an AMA the other day. Did that went pretty well for you, right, on Reddit?
I guess you could say that there was, of course, some people who trolled and who wrote like pretty bad questions, but other than that, yeah, it was a fun experience. It was the first time I did an AMA like this, so I guess it went well.
Okay, I really enjoyed it. I read pretty much everything of it. Dimaga, what are you up to? You're just at home practicing, streaming as always?
Yeah, lately.
Nice.
Lately, yeah, I'm sitting in home playing a lot, streaming as well. So I'm streaming and practicing is almost like the same for me. And just some tournaments I didn't stream because it's like not allowed to stream or something like that. And yeah, so after my wedding and honeymoon, I was playing a lot.
Congratulations, man. I actually didn't know you get married. Awesome.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And QXC, you're at the Complexity House, I take. You can see it in the background. Looks pretty nice.
I'm at the Complexity House in Texas with the rest of my team.
And we just talked about that off camera. We have like 3 different dedications here for Heart of the Swarm. ToD is playing full-time, Dimaga is playing 50-50, and QXC not playing that much, but QXC is kind of smart, so I think he knows he can add to the discussion too. Okay, let's get to it. I wanted to talk about Protoss first, and I wanted to start with the Oracle. And of course, I always like to hear the main races players' view first, so ToD and then also the other guys. I think what I wanted to know mostly is that in the recent patch there was a new ability introduced, which is Phase Shield, which is kind of supposed to counter fungal growth, I guess, and it has a duration of 5 seconds. It is a little bit of AoE on your own army, and yeah, it deflects some spells. And I wanted to know if I don't know, how do you view it right now? Or do you use the Oracle for anything other than Entombed at the moment?
I view it as something very hard to use, because the Oracle is something that requires its special hotkey, and we Protoss players have been very spoiled. We've been using mostly 1 hotkey for army, 2 when we get Templars. So now we need to have the Mothership core in another one, and then the Oracle in another hotkey too, so that's pretty difficult when you first start playing with it, but I really like the units. Go on, QXC. Entombed is really good in my opinion, especially against Zerg. You can really slow down the economy of your opponent, force his army to stay in a defensive position, but there is some maps where it's worse than on the others. Like I'm not sure about the map's name, I just really played the game, but there is this map in the desert, maybe Aquilon Wastes or something, where like there is no dead space behind the mineral lines of the Zerg, so it's very hard to go in there and then use Entombed and get out of here. So, for example, on this map, I guess Oracle will not be as good as on another map like Star Station, for example, where you have like a lot of space where you could not have anything in the start of the game. So that's for Entombed against Zerg. Against Terran, I don't think Oracle is good. I mean, I played against Moro, I tried to open Stargates. My Oracle, I energize it, I send it behind his mineral line, and then one mine came out of the ground and blew up my Oracle. I didn't have enough time to entomb, maybe it had 200 energy, so I was like, okay, maybe no Oracle against Terran. That's the experience I've got so far with it against Terran. So you wanted me to talk about the Phase Shield? Against Terran?
I was wondering, like, how do you, or just go ahead, whatever.
Against Terran, I don't think it will really help anything, but against Zerg I tried using it a little bit. It's pretty hard because if you group the Oracle in your army, then it will go ahead of your units. So what you need to do is like take it and right click it on one of your colossus, and then as soon as the start begins, you select the Oracle and you use the shield. But it's like not a very big area, and also 5 StarCraft seconds is actually very, very short. So far, I don't know, I haven't felt it was that good, but I think in the late game, if you can use that on your Mothership, like just before a very big fight, you can just go in and Vortex, maybe it will be really good, but I've been a very hard time using this spell very efficiently so far. Or like I just make the Oracle, I harass with Entomb, and then he ends up dying. And you don't really want to remake one more Oracle just for the spell so far, because we don't know how good it is, and it's a big investment. So I'm not sure just yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I kind of guessed. What do you guys think about the Oracle? QXC, do you agree with ToD that it's not good that much against Terran?
I mean, it's kind of weird because, like, in the early game, let's say I go 1-Rex expand, I'm pretty much just sitting in my base until the 10-minute mark when my medevacs come out. And so my units, like, I have a standing army. It's not like Zerg where I'm just constantly making drones. Like, I've got units to deal with the Oracles. So at that point, it's not really a big deal. And most of the Stargate openings, if you don't do damage with the Void Ray, like a Void Ray Stalker kind of push, then Terran could just mass Marines and kill you. Like, if someone were to make 1 or 2 Oracles and try and entomb stuff, I feel like I could just attack them. Or I can just sit in my base with my 1-Rex expand and be in a better position. Maybe later-ish, but I don't know. Turrets are pretty good against them. Like, you don't put them in the middle line, but you kind of put them outside your base so that the Oracle can't get close enough.
No.
I don't know. It doesn't seem particularly effective.
And then
I think against Terran, against Terran mines lately, after latest patches, this is really good against this. So that's a problem, I think, as well.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm agree with ToD with everything he said about Oracle.
So for you playing against Protoss, it's quite a nuisance. Like it's hard to. Do you think it's hard to deflect in, and how do you deal with Entomb? Do you try to keep? I mean, it's really hard to kill the Oracle quickly, right?
Yeah,
so how do you kill the Entomb things?
Just with links usually, but it's sometimes if you're out of position, it's kind of really annoying. And Oracle was really buffed, like is from the first beta, and right now this is really good in they make really good balance about everything. So this is not so weak like it was. Like you shoot like 2 times in Oracle and it was dead already, and right now he has a little bit more shield and more HP, and also has a really good range of Entomb, so it's not big deal. Yeah, so you need just a dead space probably to not lose the Oracle behind the mineral line. So I think this is really nice, and this is good, but also this is big investment because you need Stargate and energize as well. So, and Oracle pretty expensive as well. So I think this is kind of good things to have, this new thing, all little new things.
Good to hear, yeah. Well, maybe we get back to it later. I think we can move on now. The only thing about Phase Shield, like it feels like it was very much meant to counter the Zerg late game army, and my immediate thought was, okay, can you like make 3 Oracles and just spam Phase Shield over your army while you engage? But as ToD already said, that's kind of difficult, right? That's hard to micro and also hard to sustain because of the short duration. So we'll see how that pans out.
It's kind of the same as Zerg has right now, like a Swarm from Viper. Like you can counter siege tanks, but this is the radius is like so small. You can take only like two siege tanks, not more. Maybe 3 maximum. So, and it's also like very micro intensive as well, and it's really, and it's like 10 seconds game seconds. It's not sometimes enough. That's why I want to say as well.
Alright. Let's move on to the Tempest. the range got decreased. The base range got increased to 15, but there is no upgrade anymore. So it has a basic range now of 15, which is like the middle ground between 11 and 22 or whatever it was before. Todd, have you ever encountered a situation where you were like, okay, the Zerg is going Broodlord Infestor now, and I'm just going to transition to Mass Tempest and deal with them that way? Is that even possible? Because I think that's what they're aiming at as a counter to Broodlords, because they also do bonus against Massive now.
Yeah, but I don't know, I always felt like it would be so hard to actually hit the Broodlords in a fight. And in late game against Zerg, they always have a lot of Corruptors and Infestors, so I don't know, I've never felt comfortable making Tempest against Zerg so far, just against Terran mech. I think it's okay, but against Zerg, unless like he really goes for too many Broodlords, and I noticed that he doesn't have that many Infestor and maybe Corruptor, maybe I will try it, but other than that, I haven't really. There was a few games where I was really ahead, and I thought that the opponent really had a lot of Broodlords, so I made a lot of Stargates, but I didn't go for just Tempest. I made some Carriers, some Void Rays too, and mixed it a little bit. But against a very good player, I think it's very hard to reach, because it's expensive. It's like very late game, you know, after like maybe a 25 minutes game when you have like 6 base pluses. You can maybe think about doing that, but before that, I think it will be very hard. On 3 bases, it will be very, very hard to get some Tempest to do something.
I have experience on Echelon Waste, this desert map 2v2. There is a lot of Xel'Naga. It's like 4 Xel'Naga in the middle of map, from left and right side of the map. It was before this late patch, but it was like some Terran. I don't know who it was, but he was aiming from the beginning, like expansion, mass cannons, and I was making like a lot of swarm hosts, Corruptors, Infestors, this combination, and we just split the map, and then he have like mass cannons on all high grounds, and he takes Xel'Naga, and then he just go, of course, Tempest. So he has in the late game, like we have half split map, he has a lot of and enough resources, and he has double Vortex, few Archons, cannons and Tempest. It was really sick, and I lost that game because I spent all my gas on Corruptors and Infestors as well. But still, it was before patch when it was 22 range. So, and there wasn't like massive bonus damage, but it wasn't really important because I have no Broodlords that game. So I don't know. This can be possible to use them, I think, especially with carriers. So you have right now like the most scaried air army, I think, as a Protoss.
Interesting. QXC about Terran,
well, I think BC Raven is scarier than anything Protoss can put together in the air. Yamato's pretty good. I don't know. The Tempest is like a weird unit because since it doesn't do that much damage, but it has so much range, you really need a strong...
But no, lately he has like 50 damage to massive units.
Yeah, but I don't have massive units.
But battle cruiser, you said.
Yeah, but nobody makes those. Like,
but you said Yamato. Yeah.
Yeah, you said it would be very strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even.
If you wanted to max out on BCs, you could, but I don't think you have to right now, at least in the current meta. So maybe if in TVP Terran like needed to go battle cruisers, then the Tempest would make more sense. But the Terran army is basically just bio with Vikings and Ghosts, and the Tempest doesn't seem that good against that. I guess you could, like, if you do the cannon thing and you have a bunch of High Templar and Storm and Colossus, and then you can use the Tempest to like push forward, that might be a good way to use it.
A lot of Terrans have been playing mech though, for example Moro.
Yeah.
And I think against that Tempest kind of do a decent job, right? Like.
Yeah, actually I had a game recently, I don't know if you saw it, but I've been playing Moro a lot, and he goes for the same build every day. One Rax expand into factory, and then another CC, and then more factories. And I've been doing really good against him. Like I won almost every game. I just went for everything, every possible strat. I DT drop, Aras here, there, I do some recall. And the last time I played him was on Aquilon Wastes, and I thought, he's gonna go for mech again, and he's like, he doesn't even send Hellions to try to fry some probes or something. So I just took a very quick third and fourth, and made like 70 probes. I made 3 Stargates, and I started massing Tempest. And I got maxed in Tempest so fast, like he couldn't do anything. He had so many tanks and Hellions, and I had only Tempest, and I was just guiding his army all the time. And I just kind of killed him. And I thought it was really funny, like I thought Tempest is so good against mech, because he really couldn't do anything. So he did like in Brood War, you know, when you have a lot of mech and your opponent makes carrier, you just attack with your ground army and you try to kill 1 or 2 base. But he killed only 1. And then after that, he didn't have the economy to be able to fight my Tempest. It was like a little bit crazy game, I guess, but I just thought it was so funny, and that was actually the game where I sent my Oracle, and one mine blew it up in the start. So I didn't even have a good start, but after that, if you can get to a lot of Tempest, they do a lot of damage. He was trying to kite with Vikings. That was how he tried to counter. He didn't try to make Thors. And it's very hard for him, I think, because even if he has like a whole bunch of Vikings, he comes forward and he shoots 1 time, but all my Tempests, they shoot at his Vikings. So it seems pretty hard for Terran to deal with if they open mech, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting that the Tempest like shifts more into TVP now, or PVT now, instead of PVZ, because originally the original concept was like against Muta or something with the AoE in the air. Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool that it changes itself. We mentioned carriers. Do you guys feel like carriers, now that they got reintroduced, are used more often in general? Because I have that feeling. And do you feel that they fit better into Heart of the Swarm for some or whatever reason than into Wings of Liberty? Anyone?
I don't know why they were planning to remove carriers in the first place. It's like one of the Protoss unit that's always been there since Brood War, yeah, so true. I don't know why they would try to remove it, but it's not like one of the most important units, in my opinion. You will almost never see it against Terran. You will only see it like very late game against mech, maybe, but now that wouldn't be the case because Tempest seems to be kind of better. And against Zerg, maybe very, very late game as well. Like, we don't see it very often. But yeah, I don't know why they wanted to remove carriers, then they re-added it, but now we have Tempest also, so there is like this little bit awkward choice you need to make. Yeah. Am I going to make Tempest or carriers?
But you can make both.
Yeah, you can make both, but I don't know if it's like pretty hard to mix very well. If you would make like mostly Tempest, then I think adding like 2 or 3 carriers would be kind of bad. But if you make a lot of carriers, maybe making a few Tempests with it would be good.
Yeah.
But it depends on situation, I guess.
Cool. Okay, then I think a really interesting thing to talk about, and the most central thing in Protoss right now, is the Mothership core. In the recent patch, it got a redesign. It actually got a usable speed, so it's mobile now. Purify, the defensive cannon spell, has been changed that it has to be targeted to a nexus, and then the core attaches to it, and it deals a pretty good amount of damage with a decent range. And yeah, it has a basic air-to-ground attack now, and recall is a single target spell that you have to cast to a nexus, and the units around the Mothership core will follow it to that nexus. So the Mothership core has to be with an army to use recall efficiently, unless it wants to recall itself. ToD, I've seen your stream, and you have been using some sick openings, like with Mothership core harass, then Zealot warpins, like just pressure all over with the core. So you seem to be enjoying the recent changes quite a lot.
Yeah, but I still think the previous Mothership core was much better, because you could recall your army very safely. You could just move out on the map and be with a state of mind like nothing is going to happen to my army and I'm going to recall it. But now it's very different. You move out on the map and you know, like, I have this little flying thing over me that could get sniped very quickly. I mean, if we get to the mid-game, from the mid-game. So it makes it that much harder to play. In Wings of Liberty, I felt like that's really what was lacking for Protoss, to be able to move out more on the map and do some stuff. For example, I think I explained this before once, but like Zerg, if they lose their army, they usually trade kind of efficiently, and Terran as well. They can just remake army behind. But Protoss, if you move out on the map and we lose our sentries and our Colossus, we are in really bad shape. So that makes it very, very difficult to do anything in the mid game and stuff. I guess in the early game you can move out with your Mothership core, like it's not gonna die. But as time passes by, all those timings that we are abusing right now, like those Mothership core rushes, they're gonna get worse in my opinion. Against Zerg already, I don't feel it's that good to rush with Mothership core. You can do a few things, like you can force a few extra queens, or maybe delay the creep spread a little bit. But other than that, you will never do a lot of damage against Zerg with the Mothership core rush because they have queens. Against Terran, though, it seems pretty OP to Mothership core rush because they can't have their marines everywhere. Their marines are not that fast. So, for example, on Aquilon Wastes, if a lot of the time they will open one Rax expand, if you stand in front of their bunker at their expansion with your units and you send the Mothership core in their main, it can be a little bit hard for them to handle. But just for some time, like they have already gotten so much better at defending it. But yeah, there is some maps where you can just do like Blink Stalker and Mothership core, and you get vision up the ramp. You can blink in, you can do a lot of things, and I think that's a little bit OP. So I'm not sure how they could fix that, but for sure I liked a lot better than the previous Mothership core.
Not blinking to high ground.
What?
Not blinking to high ground, like no warping on high ground.
Yeah, blink, just blink. No more warping.
He means they should patch it so you can't blink onto high ground.
No, that's not what I meant. I just said it's OP. I think it's OP, and I don't want to see a lot of all-ins too. I don't want to see the game becoming like Mothership core every game, 4 guys blink, and just try to break the Terran. It will be kind of boring. But as far as the spells go, the previous Recall was better, and the previous Purify was better as well, so that just makes the previous Mothership core a lot better. I really don't like the new Purify. Like you use it on your Nexus, but your Mothership core doesn't benefit any new HP or something. Like I thought at first, when I read the patch log, that you will get the HP of your Nexus. But now you just put your Mothership core on top of your Nexus, like.
Yeah.
And usually what happens very often,
there too. Like
yeah, usually what happens, like you take some damage on it, on your Mothership core, then you use it on the Nexus, and then it's just up there, it's like stuck, it's like, please don't kill me, and then it gets sniped anyway, so I don't think the new Purify is that good.
What do you other guys think? I played today, and I found out like a Mothership core can kill a queen one-on-one. Do you think that's I think that's pretty hard for the Zerg then. If you just attack a base, kill the queen, and then kill more drones, I don't know.
Yeah, but usually until he has a Mother core, you have double queen.
Okay.
So usually he can kill like few drones, but he still take a damage. I think it's okay.
I think if you Forge Expand, Mothership core rush will never do anything in PvZ, but if you gate first and you do Zealot Stalker plus Mothership core rush, I think then it's pretty good. You can kill some queens and stuff.
Yeah, but then you need like plus additional queen, and that's all problem, and few links. Yeah, but of course it depends on situation. But usually you have a queen to defend it. Like this is not a big deal. But what ToD says, I agree. You have a high ground vision, and you can just on some map blink to your main or something like that. And force field ramp, I was losing to Nercio. He was playing Protoss as random. Yeah, and he does this shit. Just abused. And I was going to my main, he blinked to my main, right, to defend it, and he make just force field to the ramp, and I lost all my 2 base, and lost the game because of this abuse, but yeah. But yeah, this is like kinda very, very strong, and it's hard to you split correctly your army when your opponent has some good forces with blink stalkers and some sentries. And of course Mothership core.
QXC, although you haven't played the new patch, do you, because ToD said he liked the old one better, what do you think just conceptually you think is superior for the game as a whole? The Mothership core in its mobile form, like we have it right now, or the very immobile, defensively focused Mothership core?
Probably some combination of the two would make some sense. Because I do agree with ToD with what he was saying about Purify. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem as useful, and it also doesn't seem very interesting. It's just like making a super cannon or something on top of your Nexus, which in terms of ways you could defend your base and like make your unit influence what's going on in the game, that's not really a good one. So maybe some changing of Purify, I don't really know, but that doesn't seem that cool. And it does seem really weird that Protoss now has like a flying unit without having to get observers, which could lead to a lot of, like Dimaga and ToD were both saying, like a lot of really weird all-ins that normally don't work because you would have to invest in a robotics and an observer before you could do them. Although with the, like it would be even worse in Wings of Liberty because you could still warp onto the high ground. But now that you can't do that, some of that stuff goes away.
Right.
Yeah, but now you would have recall with your all-in too.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I don't know. I think the first version of recall was way better. Not having that with you. Yeah, that was like stupid good.
Do you think it was better for Protoss? I mean, it obviously was. But how do you value it, like, for the whole game, for the dynamic? Because I think when ToD said earlier, like, described it, you have this flimsy thing above your army that pretty much is your exit card. Like, if you lose it, you can't get out. Don't you think that makes the whole game a lot more dynamic and, you know, skill focused?
I think like new core a little bit, I don't know, it's like maybe better. Just because of move speed and just a move on ground units, so they can take a map control in the beginning. Map control. He can always kill some Zerg, some units near Xel'Naga tower. So I think this is more just for map control, much better, of course. It's just you can make some good action, and before you just stay at home with your Mothership core. So, some maps, of course, you can fly to your enemy base and recall them to the main or something like that, but it's like, it was kind of crazy because it was so slow.
Yeah, the thing about the recall, like the old recall, is you could hide the Mothership core basically anywhere in your base, and there's almost like a new skill if you're playing against Protoss, is you want to be able to keep track of how much energy you think their Mothership core has, so that you know whether or not they have like, you could be like, okay, they probably have, there's like an 80% chance that they have 100 energy for this battle. And then that changes how you're doing your engage. And like, it could be important as Zerg to put a changeling on the Mothership core so you can keep track of it. Or like as Terran, if you know where they're leaving it, you can scan it and check, so that if you have a battle, you know whether or not they can recall their army home. But now that it's out on the field, that whole dynamic isn't there. And obviously then you can just kill it during the battle. Like, it's a very important fixture in the Protoss army. I'm not sure which one's better, but those are kind of the two ways of looking at it.
Yeah, and also recall takes some time, so you can kill like for free some units. So this is also this is not instant recall.
Yeah.
So
I noticed that too.
This is okay. This is okay.
ToD, you sticking with you like the old one better? And or could you answer like to what I said? Do you think for the whole game the new one might be more dynamic, or do you just prefer the old one?
Well, it's probably more dynamic, yeah, because you move around with it on the map. It's not that very slow thing that stays at home and just waits to recall. But it doesn't change the fact that like being able to move out on the map and knowing that your army is like at no risk to ever die, you can just recall it anytime. It's just made the old one that much better than the current one. And I think the old one, obviously, it was too strong. But I'm not sure that the changes they made were the ones necessary. But yeah, I'm certain that 100 energy for recall before, like you can just always get your army at home. Usually in your army you have, whether it's against Zerg or Terran, you have a bunch of stalkers, you have some Colossus and you have force field. You can use this as well to lock your opponent out. So you could just always try to attack, try to force field your opponent out of whichever base you want to snipe it. In the meantime, you drop in the main with War Prism and then you recall. That was way too good. But now it's just going to be really hard. I think people are going to be very good at trying to snipe the Mothership core, because it's going to be with the army. So the Zerg, they just make like either infestors or corruptors. The Terrans, they are Viking and Marines. If they just move in and snipe it, maybe after that they can just take out the army or get in a very good concave position to take a fight. So it's going to be another story.
Alright. Yeah, I'm looking forward to how it develops. I think it's like the Sentry was in Wings of Liberty. I think Blizzard are gonna like really focus on the Mothership core as the central dynamic of Protoss, because that's what it is, and we'll see where it goes. They're patching quite a lot, so I read some suggestions on the forums, like maybe buff Purify, like make it stronger or longer range, and decrease the base damage, like of the air-to-ground cannon of the Mothership core or whatever. I think we're gonna see some things. For now, I think we're gonna move on to Zerg, and unless anyone wants to add anything, but I think we had everything. So what I wanted to address first for Zergs is the Viper. Viper was kind of the big thing going into the beta, introducing some really interesting dynamics, as well as adding on some Brood War nostalgia with Blinding Cloud. It was a bit like Dark Swarm. I think a lot of people were looking forward to it. What I'm seeing right now is that I'm not seeing much of it. The Viper is not being used a lot right now, so that's what I want to say to spark this discussion. Dimaga, why isn't it being used right now?
I was playing from the beginning of beta, from like whole first week. I was playing a lot. I was trying to use, and it was really useful, Viper, Abduct, and it was useful because of Crypt Humor. You can consume your Crypt Humor. It's kind of abuse, of course. It's like kind of abuse, because you make like 2 extra queens or like 4 queens, doesn't matter, and just spam Crypt Humor, and then you just consume on Crypt Humors, and you have almost infinite energy on Viper, and you always can abduct. So you need like 2-3 Vipers, and then you always abduct like tanks, Taurs, Colossus, any unit, doesn't matter. And it was really strong. But right now, consume to the building. You need to build like evolution chamber, or consume to some gas or any kind of buildings. Abduct still is pretty good, and probably only spell. This is like okay, but still Viper is like late game, right? You need to hive, so it's like really like late game, and it's usually both of them, like Protoss or Terrans, has already some anti-air units, like Stalkers, Taurs or Vikings, and it's pretty hard to abduct anything if they has already something like anti-air. Even if they has like you lose Viper, it's very expensive, 200 gas. It's like ultralisk on gas. So this is expensive, and I don't think this is so good. Especially with my playstyle, I don't like it. And I was trying like a few times, like recently. I was trying to make this swarm, and as I said before, Dark Swarm, or how it's called?
Blinding Cloud.
Cloud. And this is really so small, like EMP. So you can target on like 2 tanks, and that's all. 2 siege tanks, and it's work only like 10 seconds. It's not a lot. And I think this is not good. So overall, I don't like Viper.
Yeah. QXC, what do you think? Do you agree with Dimaga, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Blinding Cloud, like the thing that it seems most useful against would be siege tanks, just because they can't move. But the thing is, like, any other part of the Terran army is basically always moving back and spreading out. in almost every battle against Zerg because of Banelings, Fungal, and Ultralisk. And so when my army is in this big concave, like where are you putting a blinding cloud that's going to be effective? One thing that might be really cool, I don't know how viable it would be a fungal with a blinding cloud on top of it, and then the bio is forced to sit in it. But usually if you get a big enough fungal, you just win the game because you fungal them again. Like you could be cute and like fungal and blinding cloud, or you could just fungal and then fungal and then fungal, and everything would die, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, kind of true.
Abduct seems kind of interesting in a really late game scenario where the positions are kind of stagnant and you're looking for some way to break it, but
who left the back door open?
I don't know. I really agree with Dimaga is once you get some anti-air, the Vipers suddenly don't look very useful. Like Vikings are so good at killing anti-air with 9 range. Even Ghosts, you have a 9 range snipe because the Vipers are psionic.
And they only have 120 HP or something like that, right? So they're very squishy.
Yeah.
I thought the original design idea behind the Viper was to, and correct me if I'm right or wrong, was to you know, form a symbiosis with the melee part of the Zerg army. So you have Lings and maybe Ultras, and Lings always have the problem, more or less, to get up close in melee range. So if you abduct some Thors or tanks, you can get them for free, basically. Do you think that kind of doubles up with the Ultralisk burrow charge? So it's the Viper with abduct is not even needed because the burrow charge kind of does the job already?
Kinda, and still I was trying, always when I was trying like this charge, I don't know, it's not work. It's not work at all for me. I always like lose everything, usually, because it's like really pretty expensive, but it's not about the expensive. It's just like they move pretty slow and you need to cast like 1 by 1 for it's like not mass spell of course. So you spam it, but usually they just scan, and when is it like under the ground, they take so much damage. It's hard to sometimes just to charge on it, but I don't know. I don't feel like charge is like really useful. I was thinking, wow, charge will be so imba, and like will be really OP, but I don't know why. But on my just experience, when I was trying to do this, I always lose somehow. I don't know why. So I just don't know. And usually, as you said, like Link, Ultralisk, and Viper, if he has at least something anti-air, then you screw it up. And you have usually maybe only Infestors anti-air as well, so I don't know. But maybe it can be possible. You still need to search and play more to say something like more. But I don't have like such late games that like, Ultralisk with charge was so effective.
Yeah. It looks cool though, right? When they come and they like smash up everything.
Yeah, bam.
They're like sharks.
Are they visible while they're like sharking, or are they?
They're sharking.
Are they
I
invisible?
really don't know. I think they're not visible, but maybe I'm wrong.
Because you said they're taking damage while they're charging. You know.
It's because you just scan.
You just scan, right? Yeah.
Okay. Like you see Ultralisk go down, you scan.
Yeah, you scan. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. And usually in such stage of a game you always have scan. Like you always have some additional orbitals, so this is not a problem.
Okay, ToD, anything to add? Like, did you have any trouble with Vipers, or do you pretty much agree with everything?
I didn't play much against them, but it's a very weird unit to me, because some games I play against it and it seems so bad, but some games I play against it and like, for example, I play against Cats, and he was abducting my units from so far. Like I was like,
but it's only 9 range.
Is there some secret upgrade or something? Like, you know, at Active Places, he was at bottom right, and I was on his 4th base, you know, just above his natural. And he was abducting units from there. He was up the ramp, up his ramp, and he was abducting my Colossus and my Stalkers up the ramp. And I was like, what the hell? How is this possible? Like, I was like very scared of his army, and I didn't want to recall yet. So I went in the very corner of that base. He was still abducting from like really far, like even down the ramp, and he has like all units up the ramp shooting at the edge, like down the ramp on my units and killing them. And I was like, wow, like, I don't understand this unit. Like sometimes it seems it's so bad, but sometimes it seems good. But I played also against Dignitas Killer, and he had very good macro. Like also on this map, he took a lot of bases and he added Vipers into his army, just like you would play Roach Infestor into whatever. And it was really good the way he used it. He was always like good positioning with the Zelnaga towers, and using Abduct really well to bring my Colossus into his army. And then he played.
Problem.
You
need a vision.
Sorry.
You need a vision to abduct, and usually it's not so easy to have. But some maps, if you have Zelnaga vision, can be really good. And also, I didn't think this is like so long range. I think it's like this range is really not enough at all for abduct.
Of course.
Of course, I'm Zerg. And usually this is not my playstyle, but yeah, it can be possible, as I said before.
So do you think it synergizes better with like Roach Infestor more than with melee stuff? Against Protoss, I guess, right?
Just make Lacoste Infestors Corruptors. This is like crazy mix unit.
Yeah, I learned about it the hard way. I played Dimaga in the tournament, and he never takes to tier 3. And his mix is like really hard to play against.
No need, you just make Swarm Hosts, Infestors, Corruptors, anti-everything.
What's the best, you think, against that?
Against this mix, you need air. You need Tempest.
Really?
You need air. Yeah.
But you have Corruptor and Infestor. Do you know what those units do to air?
Yeah, of course, but you have always cannons, or just in late game Vortex. Vortex Archon's always good.
Okay.
That's what I want to get at next, Swarm Host. I think you're a big Swarm Host fan, right, Dima? Like you've been using them all the time.
Yeah, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even from nerfing, it doesn't matter. They nerf it not so bad, not so much. So it was still the same point of everything. Especially when you get like it's crazy sound, but you get Broodlords and Swarm Hosts, like Swarm, and of course then Broodlords. Then you have like so many free units. This is just ridiculous sometimes. But this still you need some anti-air, and it's only Corruptors and Infestors.
Do you think it's like overpowered right now? Like what you said, if you get to Swarm Host Broodlord, do you think that's I mean that's so hard.
Problem like that Protoss has really sick air units. Against Broodlords, and now Tempest is so good. They like shooting few times and Broodlords die. And of course Terran just has sick Ravens. Ravens was always OP, especially in HOTS, because they have only 100 energy for these rockets. How it's called, I don't remember. Just
Seeker missile.
Seeker missile. Hunter Seeker, yeah, thank you, Kixie. So this Hunter Seeker, like, you can make 2 Hunter Seeker from 1 Raven. This is just crazy. Of course, this is like late game, like, but this is almost like you just can't counter this. And a PTD, of course. If you have like mass Ravens, what do you have? A lot of Corruptors. Okay, PTD and like Hunter Seeker. So I don't know. You have even no counter to this in Jawari. Only like Infested Marines. This is the only counter to this. But I don't know. About Swarm Host, this is a really good unit. Sometimes it's really good. But if you're going to rush to them and going to make some aggression, then you fucked up. You need to defensive, and you need like critical mass of Swarm Hosts. Then you can go. That's kind of also a problem, because it's like not interesting game, because you're always sitting and turtle and defending until you get like 200 of everything. and have good mix composition, like OP composition, and go. That's kind of also a problem for viewers, I think.
Oh yeah. So you don't play any like swarm host attacks. You always play them defensively.
Yeah, I was trying to play swarm host attacks, but usually if you have few of them and you don't have upgrade on Lacust for plus 10 seconds, you just go and like Protoss or usually Protoss, because Terran can much more easily to deal with them. Just kill Lacust and come and kill your just snipe your swarm hosts. That's a problem as well. So you just do not have support units to them.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough support units, and
definitely.
you just lose pretty expensive units as well, and you're probably dead. So this is very hard to make some aggression with them.
Yeah,
Todd,
swarm hosts?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sure. I just want to go off what Dima was saying. They remind me a lot of siege tanks, Colossus,
Yeah.
Broodlords, in that like one or two. Well, Colossus are imbalanced, so like even one is broken as shit. But with the other like more regular units that make sense in this game, you get like one or two, and it doesn't really do much. You get like three, and then you start kind of seeing like an exponential. Like you get more and more powerful. Then once you get like 10 or 20, you get this unkillable armor. Like you get 20 Broodlords, nothing on the ground counters that. Or you get 20 Swarm Hosts, and it's so hard to actually break, but it's like 6 Swarm Hosts, it's not a big deal at all. So I don't know how I feel about having more units that just do things without you having to control them, though. It seems like it could lead to kind of boring positions where like the Zerg player is actually just sitting back and rallying, and like and the Terran player is just sitting there and defending, and you get in the you can get into a point where neither side is actually taking damage, and also neither side is really able to advance. Like Via with Medivacs, you can heal out most of the locust damage, but if there's enough locusts or like stuff defending it, then sometimes you can't actually attack the swarm hosts. So you just get in like this really
annoying.
It's annoying.
It's annoying
more than anything else.
Yeah, especially from Broodwall, as I was Broodwall player, you know, and we never had something like Broodlords, Swarm Hosts. We never had something that we have like standard unit who is shooting or fighting, and that's all. But never like who was making some new units. And when I first of in my life see Broodlords, I just hate them because it's bullshit. Like what the fuck? Like few like one units make new units. Like this make no sense at all for me. So I still don't like Broodlords and Swarm Hosts. Like just conception of everything of this. That's my opinion.
I feel like one of the things that's really interesting about StarCraft as an RTS compared to other games is that nothing is free.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing is free in this game. You spend energy, you spend minerals, you spend gas, and except for energy, everything is finite. You always run out of resources. You always get to a point where you can't build more, you can't do more of something. And then obviously energy units are like the exception, the endgame unit where time is no longer a factor. But then you have Broodlords and Swarm Hosts, which just give you units. You're not, like, once you invest in them, you get an infinite amount of units, no further investment. And to me, that doesn't make sense for StarCraft.
Yeah, same for me.
Todd, what do you think?
I think we need to bring in the priests from the human race in Warcraft to dispel all those locusts and infested Terran. It will help us.
So good.
It will be OP as well.
Can you explain that for me? I've never watched or played Warcraft.
Oh.
In Warcraft, if somebody summons units, if you play human, there is this unit called the priest, and you can dispel basically on like a whole area, and yeah, it just like dissolves those units. So that will mean like you can just make all those locusts and infested Terrans disappear if you add some of those units. Yeah, it seems pretty difficult to play against Swarm Host. I kind of figured it out now. I play a lot of base trade, like I go around it. I don't try to fight the Swarm Host. Yeah. But Dimaga has a very good build. He gets like a couple Swarm Hosts and then Infestors. So if you go around, he already has Infestors and some Queens, maybe some Lynx, Roaches to defend. and after that he gets like some corruptors. And if you try to break in his swarm host pouch, you only have one observer to detect or two, and then it will always die, and then you can't see the streams anymore. It's so frustrating. Every time I attacked into his swarm host, I just got kind of fungled, and then he sniped the observer, and then I couldn't see it. So even with small supply, I lost the fight.
Is in this specific situation, do you think revelation from the Oracle is an option for you? Like, even though it can get sniped, you still get 30 seconds vision?
No, but I think it's not so good, because if you lose air, because usually if like situation like this, corruptors will kill them as well, so it's not big deal as well.
Yep, I mean, but even if it dies, the revelation still stays on the present for 30 seconds or so. So it gives.
It can be exposed
detection.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm gonna make an oracle that's gonna go in and be like, yes, please let me detect, and then it dies. And it's like you got 30 seconds to kill these guys.
Yeah, sure.
It's like brute war style when you have like lurkers, like sunken spine crawlers, few links, and always observer, and you snipe observer with Scourge. So it's kind of the same. Right now with corruptors and overseer to snipe observer. I know this is really annoying for Protoss. So this is mix what I like used from the beginning, like swarm host, infestors and corruptors. This is really sick, and just like long range from Tempest can be pretty useful against this, and of course vortex with Archons.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think, like, if there is any, like, we agree on swarm hosts being pretty strong, do you think there needs to be a change? What I feel the strongest, or when I play, how I feel the locusts behave, the hardest thing is how durable they are. Like, I feel like they die pretty slowly. They actually take a lot of hits, while they actually do a lot of damage. Do you think they should be like a bit weaker, or I don't know, just whatever?
I don't know. As I said before, I don't like units who make free units. So I just overall don't like all this concept.
Yeah, that's all you make against Protoss.
Yeah, because like this is like OP.
It's strong, yeah.
Yeah, it's strong. You can win money from this. Why not?
I played against Dimaga the other day in a tournament, and he made swarm hosts into infestor, so he had both locusts and infested Terran. I was fighting like very closely with him for like 25 minutes, and I was like, man, when is this gonna end? And then suddenly some broodlords shot, and I got broodlings too against me.
yeah.
I was like, oh man.
I think it's like Blizzard's way to compensate for the fact that Zerg isn't that swarmy in StarCraft 2. Like in StarCraft 1, it was just a big army because of the way pathfinding and stuff. Everything was more spread out. Here you don't really have it, so they want to give Zerg this overwhelming feeling by making free small units.
I don't know. I don't really feel like that's the reason Zerg isn't swarmy in StarCraft 2. I mean, obviously, if your units are all clumped up, they look smaller than if they're all spread out. But if you look at the units Zerg has, Zerglings are half a supply, Banelings, and then Roaches are 2 supply, Hydras are 2 supply, Mutas are 2 supply, Infestors are 2 supply, Corruptors are 2 supply, Broodlords are 4 supply, Ultralists are 6 supply. That's why the race isn't swarmy. If they want to make the race swarmy, they need to give it more 1 supply unit or half supply unit. Like in StarCraft Brood War, Lings were half a supply. Obviously, Mutas were the same, but Hydras were 1 supply.
Don't forget, in Brood War you have not so much drones overall, because mineral mining, it was 8 per 1 mineral. So you need basically right now you need like 3 drones per 1 path mineral, right? Not optimal, maximum. And before you need like 1.5, maximum was 2. So before you was mining like more minerals, and you need less drones. So all your units and all your limit was not so much in economy in drones production. So you have a lot of free a limit, and you have much more units from less drones as well. So this is also a problem of StarCraft 2. This is just conception, all other conception.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because like in StarCraft 1, if you had 80 drones, that's like 7 base saturation. Like that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about Terran, but I think for Protoss right now, like we don't really know what to make against swarm hosts. That's our big problem. Like if we had a very strong unit against it, it would be much easier. I went to the tech tree and I think I saw in it that they say to make Archons. Archons are good against swarm hosts, but when I played against good Zergs like Dimaga, I made Archons, and then every time they send one wave. Every time you send one wave of locusts, and I'm camping, I'm like not even attacking, one Archon dies. So that's like your 3 units kill one Archon every time, so I guess they're not that good against locusts.
Yeah. Alright, again, of course, we will see where it goes. Right now, I feel like Zerg is looking pretty strong in Heart of the Swarm. I have a last question for Zerg. Like, how do you feel about the gas, the dependency on gas for Zerg? Because Zerg always has been the race that after layer tech is only limited by gas. Like casters talk all the time about how you need 8 gas here and there and that stuff, and you need gas. You're only limited by that. How do you feel about Blizzard introducing like 2 units that are very gas dependent, the Swarmhost and the Viper?
But Swarmhost is not so dependent. It's only 100 gas and 200 minerals.
Yeah, but
so that's why they is so good in all this mix.
Right. It fits better in the mix, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that might also be a reason why the Hydra just doesn't work that well, because it's too gas heavy? Like.
Hydra just weak in late game. That's.
Sorry, I meant Viper. Sorry, my bad.
Viper. Viper's pretty gas heavy. Yeah, as I said, you can make one Ultralisk or just kind of almost Broodlords. I don't know.
Okay, so we move on to Terran. I have nothing more. Is there anything we should still address?
Just one thing that I want to say is just like whenever you're looking at unit compositions and like do these units fit together in terms of the resources they cost, you always want to look at the ratio of minerals to gas rather than just the total cost.
Yeah.
Like something's not a gas dump if it costs 800 minerals and 500 gas.
Yeah.
It still costs way more minerals than gas. It's just something to consider as we're talking about the Heart of the Swarm units.
Yeah.
And I think about mineral and gas, like Protoss, pretty heavy gas as well. So I don't know, just my suggestion as well.
Okay, let's move on to Terran then. I think the first notable thing to say, or the general notable thing to say, is that a lot of Terrans have been playing mech a lot more. Moro comes to mind once again. Who, as Todd said before, plays mech exclusively, always the same. And so it seems like even though the Warhound got removed in the previous patch, Battle Hellions and Mines alone are pretty much enough to make it good. So I wonder, how do you see that? Do you think mech is pretty viable now in all 3 matchups? As you are, as 2 of you, or as you all are playing against Terran, how do you see mech, or do you think it's still both very possible, bio and mech?
I don't really like mech that much. I don't feel like the mine, at least personally, the mine is enough to make me want to go mech against Protoss. Mech is already a thing in TVT and TVZ, and I don't foresee that. Like, there's nothing that's changed in Heart of the Swarm that makes me say I don't want to mech anymore. But I would rather, like when I played TVZ, I was using the Widow Mine. I was going like basically bio medevac Widow Mine, and you use the bio to get a forward position, and then you put Widow Mines right in front, and you use them kind of like siege tanks. You like dart your bio in a little bit, and then if Zerg tries to attack you, you retreat, and then the Widow Mines jump them. And you just keep doing that. You keep pushing forward. So like, to me, that's the most obvious way I would use Widow Mines, at least so far. And I don't, like, it doesn't seem like a mech enabler to me. And maybe that's just because I haven't watched Moro and the way he plays mech. But my problem always with meching against Protoss is that your mineral dump is not very good against just like a general army. Like they can go an army where your mineral dump is not useful at all. Like you go Mass Hellions and they go Stalker Colossus Immortal. And your Hellions don't do anything. And like adding Widow Mines or making them battle doesn't seem like it's sufficient to overcome that.
More thoughts? Todd, you mentioned earlier you're finding at least Monostyle pretty easy now to deflect.
Yeah, I don't think mech is very strong right now. I think Terran would definitely need the Warhound, even like a non-OP version to make it work. Playing just tanks, Hellions, Battle Hellions and Mines doesn't seem enough. Protoss has a lot of mobility. Against a mech opening, Mothership Core Rush is pretty good. You can do some damage, you can do some scouting, know what's going on. And even though the mines are pretty good, I think they are much stronger used as how QXE said. You make some mines to defend in some positions, especially since they snipe pretty much everything in one hit, like even War Prism, I think, and or like an observer. And yeah, you just make mines a little bit everywhere on the map, and you use bio, use them for position, and yeah, I think that's the better way to use it against Protoss at least.
I think in TVT as well, Mines is really good at defending, especially against Banshee. He kills Banshee from one Mines, so this is kind of really good. In TVZ, like as Kevin said, this can be useful, but the problem will be they make infestors, and you will be fucked up probably. Like Fungal, and he just rolling with Link Bailing, so you need siege tanks, and you just need siege tanks against Zerg for sure. This is my opinion. So I don't know, but maybe I didn't play a lot against Mines because I was playing a lot. Like we was like testing with Braddock, but it was like before this patch, and then Mines was really really hard. Right now they're kind of in okay position. They can be really good, useful, especially in defensive. So I don't know, we need a little bit more experience, but right now they kinda okay.
About mines, I've been reading on Team Liquid a bit, and the thing is that mines are 2 supply, right? So a lot of people said the big weakness of Widow Mines is that you can't really mass them that efficiently because it really eats up your supply. I mean, you say you use 4 mines to like guard a choke, that's already 8 supply, and that eats away at the rest of your army, especially if you're playing mech really quickly. I read a thread, like a theory thread, just a suggestion, and I wanted to throw that in here. Wonder what you think just about the idea. It was like if you build a mine, you burrow it, and then like a creep tumor, it has a rally point or something, and then every minute or so it spawns a new mine in a certain range. It's like I'm just throwing it out there. It was not from a random guy. The suggestion, I think it was from KCDC, who always does good stuff in the strategy forum, and even Browder commented on it. It was like one of those posts where Browder said, "Okay, that's an interesting idea." So, what do you think about this idea, a mine that spawns more mines in a line or something?
They just don't like more free units like that.
Yeah, again, right. Yeah.
I just don't think it's good.
I think how you need to use mine, you just need to use in like middle, like early middle game, just for defense, and that's all. That's why you mine, and they just jump and kill something, but not like mine you can go to with a move. So I don't know, my opinion right now, mine is pretty good. Especially, maybe in late game you just need like few mines against some dropships, drop harassment, and like that's not big deal because we have also queen who are not so useful. You just making injections, so it's also to limit. So if you have like 4 queens and you have like 4 mines in like key position, it's okay. It's not big deal. But if you want just mass mines, of course, this makes no sense.
Yeah, Dima, you actually just made me think of something really. Mech and TVT suddenly becomes much, much stronger because you can put turrets at your main and then 2 mines there, and you don't have to worry about killing the units that drop. They'll jump onto the medevacs and blow them up, and you won't have to worry about like bio drops. So that's interesting. The way I see the mines is like Dima was saying, it's like early game, you know, like at 7 minutes he's gonna have a Banshee, and you like put 2 or 3 mines down and you catch the Banshee, or like you know he's doing Void Ray, so you like put a mine down and try and catch the Void Ray. You have to do it on like really high percentage things. It's not like in Brood War where you would just put them like, even if there's only a 5%, yeah, exactly, like a 5% chance or a 1% chance that a unit's going to hit this mine, you just put them everywhere because they gave you vision and they killed things, they controlled space.
And they were free, right? They didn't have to play,
free. Like 25 minerals, like, right? Kinda.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
However you want to.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
And so now, since they cost supply, and you have to like, you have to know that your opponent is going to go somewhere for the mines to actually be useful. Maybe, maybe what you're saying, like siege tanks. If you did like siege tank bio widow mine, that could give you like a really strong position on the map. Really hard for the Zerg to break.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, I think mines can be used offensively, but only with the quick starport and medivacs. I saw Dragon doing this a lot, dropping mines, and 4GG as well. 4GG likes to play bio, he doesn't play mech, and very often he will open like mines, drop, opening, and I'm not sure if it's better than Hellions, but in some games it seems really good.
Yeah, because before they make splash damage only 30, and right now they make splash damage 60, so they probably kill mineral line. Like with splash damage, then it makes sense. Before they was really sucked, but right now they can mineralize. It's also pretty OP, maybe. I don't know. I didn't play a lot after patch, so yeah, it can be really, really strong. I'm agree. It's like just go and brew and kill them. It's crazy.
I think they haven't figured out yet if it's better than Hellions, because when they do that, they have to make the choice between either Hellions or mines to hard the mineral line.
But mine's building time is 20 seconds only, so they're building like really, really fast. And with reactor, you like for 40 seconds you have like 4 mines, and you can drop so fast. And one mine is like with one mine, if you kill like 2 drones, it's already cost efficient. Yeah. So if you kill with like double mine, like mineral line with 16 drones, then it's fucking good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But it takes gas.
Yeah, but it's only 25 gas for one. 75 mineral and 25 gas. It's not big investment. Like
depending on how much more you kill. But like you said, if you kill like a lot more, like more than double, then the gas is probably worth it. Yeah, I mean, just imagine you go for a like early game mine drop and you kill half a mineral line or an entire mineral line. You're so far ahead already, like with everything.
The reason the gas is really important early game is you can't go reactor factory starport on one gas if you're making widow mines. But if you're making Hellions, you can do that. So then your expansion is much later because you have to invest in the gas to make it all work out. But
yeah, you just need maybe another build order, something like. Think about it. Yeah. I'm sure. Just like hypothetical. What you want to do, like just drop minerals in, like mines into mineral lines. It can be also crazy.
Yeah. One thing you might be able to do is like a proxy factory, proxy starport.
Yeah.
First 4 widow mines, you wall off their ramp, or like wall around the mineral line, so that they can't go and defend. And then the next 4 units you make are Hellions. And you can like attack the main. If they try and bring their units from their natural up, you can blow them up with the mines. Or if they've already pulled their probes or whatever, you can blow up the probes. Or you can, because you can also make it so that mines don't auto attack. So you can make sure that you get good kills with them. And if you can get mines at the ramp, then you can kind of like separate their main and their natural. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but when the mines are moving, aren't they like kind of fragile? Don't
No,
they
yeah,
die?
that's true.
Yeah, so you would have to get to the ramp, maybe burrow like 2 mines or something, and then... Yeah, but I actually thought about that build earlier when I was talking about mines. For example, on Aquilum Wastes, you can go like, you know, there is this space near the main, you know, on the other side, where you can make like a proxy factory and then just do the same as the Hellion drop into Banshee, but just mine drop into Banshee. That could be pretty good, but it's risky. I mean, you need to make your buildings across the map, and against Zerg it could be harder because they might have. Yeah, against Protoss, I think it could be very good. Like those maps, they make it very hard for Protoss.
Core.
What? Yeah.
Mothership core.
If you get rushed, then you don't have much at home. It's pretty hard.
But you have nothing still against Mothership core so fast.
Yeah, even in PvP, it changes a lot, the Mothership core. Like I played against White Draw and Ladder, and in PvP I really like to do 3-stalker rush. And then now I do it with 3-stalker rush plus my Mothership core. But I play against White Draw and I send my 3-stalker to his base. And my Mothership core is following. And then the moment I reach the middle of the map on Star Station, his Mothership core arrived in my mineral line. He hit like so many probes and then I couldn't mine for a long time. So I think PvP is going to change a whole bunch. You're going to have to keep at least 1 or 2 stalker at home to defend for this and stuff like that.
We're coming to the matchups in a second anyways. For Terran, I just wanted to ask, we covered the mech stuff. Reapers. It's cool that we have QXC on the show because he's like the Reaper man. I mean, I think the Reapers had their stuff like Vision of the Ramps and Regen from the beginning on, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but...
The Vision is a new-ish change. I played with that.
Did you play with that?
Yeah.
Then tell us what you managed to do or find out.
I think the Vision is actually really cool. It's one of the more interesting abilities that they've added in part of the Swarm. The health regen is kind of stupid, and Reapers themselves are just not a useful unit in general because of how long they take to produce. Like, if you compare Reapers and Marines against light units, Reapers are like 2 to 3 times as effective because of how quickly they kill things. Like, Zerglings can barely touch them, Zealots can barely touch them. But in order to produce the same supply of Reapers that you would with Marines, you have to spend like almost twice as much on your infrastructure because it's 45 seconds for 1 supply versus 50 seconds for 4 supply. Marines, you can get 4 Marines in 50 seconds from 1 barracks with a reactor, or you could get 1 Reaper. And obviously 4 Marines is way better than 1 Reaper. Like, it's not the Reaper's stats that are a problem, it's not the Reaper's abilities, it's a really cool unit, it has a lot of uses, it's really fast, it's really interesting, you just can't build them. And the changes they put in Heart of the Swarm don't address any of that. Like, if they want to make the Reaper useful, make it build in 30 seconds. And give it a factory requirement or something so not every single game is proxy Reaper rush. Like, that's the issue. Because if you could make a bunch of Reapers without building 20 barracks instead of 10, then people could do that and it would make sense. In terms of the abilities, like the health regen and the seeing up cliffs is actually really useful against Terran. Reaper expands, like the speed Reaper Hellion medevac build is much more powerful because you can go up those cliffs and you can do damage before you get the medevac out. But all it did was make the situations where the Reaper was good better, and it didn't address all of the situations where the Reaper is bad. Like, the health regen does the Reaper better in situations where it wasn't good to begin with, and same with the seeing up cliffs. So that's kind of my take.
I just don't think they wanted to be like a mid-late game unit. I think like what you're saying, what you're suggesting is make it more useful over the course of a whole game, and I think they still view it as a early game opening potential, but nothing more. Otherwise, they would address that issue.
I think Reaper is quite better. Okay, finish. Draw.
No, you do.
I think Reaper is quite better than before against Protoss, because before it was just this unit that you send out. You go into the main of the Protoss, you see what he has, you see like when his expo is up maybe. Sometimes, really only sometimes, you keep the Zelnaga watchtower and you try to kind of keep the map control. So it allows you to always know where like the Protoss is, if he's going to all-in you or something. But now it's much more mobile, like because it can see up ramps, you know what you're getting into before going up a ramp. So you can take a look here and there, you can do like before, take the Zelnaga watchtower, and later on you can go back into the main, see what's going on. And even if the Protoss has like one Zealot, one Stalker and Mothership core, he shouldn't be able to catch your Reaper. So like the upgrades for the healing obviously is not that important. Maybe you can go in like kill one probe, escape with 1 HP and stuff, but other than that I don't think it's too relevant. But the upgrade to see up the cliffs is a big deal in my opinion, because you can really move around a lot more and like have a safe Reaper that's not going to die.
Yeah, that actually, I forgot. I did play one TVP, and it's really cool, like some of the bio timings that used to exist. There used to be like bio timings where you'd jump a Reaper up and use that to get vision and then try and snipe the sentry so that the rest of your bio force could go up the ramp. And actually you can do some really cool things now with the Reaper, like ToD was saying. You use the Reaper to like spot and see what they have up the ramp, and you can use your Marine Marauder force to like poke at pylons or poke at the sentry or poke at zealots and stuff and apply pressure in a way that wasn't possible at all before.
Yeah, it's true. But Reaper opening against Protoss is pretty sucked because Mothership core just coming and kill you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was really like, it was Nurture playing with Reaper opening, like random, this like last tourney I was against Whiterra, and Whiterra just come with Mothership core, one Zealot and one Stalker and kill him. He has nothing anti-air, like a few Marines in bunker, but he killed like almost all SCV, and as always Nurture said some cool stuff and out of game. So
if you play against Whiterra, look out for your walkers instead of the game. He loved that Mothership rush.
No.
yeah.
Can imagine.
I have that many fans telling to watch my
Yeah, so we can agree on the Reaper being good early on, or even better than before, but I'm not sure if it's gonna go anywhere. We will see for the rest of the game. Nice. So that was the part about everything I wanted to talk about race-wise, or race-specific. I wanted to address the matchups now, and I would like to start with PvP. ToD already scratched it earlier. Can you like give us a rundown about your PvP ideas right now, or how do you play? Do you try to expand earlier with the Mothership core, or is Purified too weak to really justify that?
In PvP, getting the Mothership core ASAP is very important. In my opinion, it's always good. But right now, the matchup is very different than it should be, in my opinion, if the maps were different. Just because the maps, they are like so unlike the maps in Wings of Liberty. They have like a lot of rocks, a lot of big ramps, so that changes everything for Protoss. And that includes PvP, in my opinion. It makes it really that much harder to go Stargate on maps where you don't have a big ramp, small ramp, I mean. For example, Star Station, you got this big ramp that needs 2 force fields for your main, but you got that free expansion behind it. Unless you're gonna build this quick forge, it makes it really hard to open Phoenix. And because of what we said earlier, the Mothership core allowing to get vision up ramps, you can just go Blink Stalker 4 gates, and maybe just make the Mothership core try to poke around a little bit all the time. And you can get a very good idea if your opponent is going DT or not, because when you go 4-gate Blink Stalker and you keep making probes, like you don't do the all-in version, the only thing you're really scared of is DTs. Yeah. So the Mothership core allows you to get some info and know if your opponent might be going DTs. If he's not going DTs, it's probably the best build. You can just harass, you have a lot of mobility, you can recall home if you have a problem, and you can expo behind that. So I think that's the best build right now, probably going for Blink Stalkers. But on some maps, Stargate is okay also, because you can just get a bunch of Phoenixes, snipe the Mothership core. If your opponent didn't go for Blink, you can maybe make an Oracle. And like I said, on Star Station, for example, it's harder to go for Stargate. But if you can pull it off, then you got so much dead space behind the mineral lines that you can just go in all the time and keep using Entombed. And Entombed is really good in PvP, I'm not gonna lie. It's very hard to kill. Like, you always want to have your units somewhere else than in your mineral line as Protoss. So I don't know, like, I'm relatively new to the game. I've just played a little bit more than 100 games, but I feel so far Blink is pretty good in PvP.
Do you other guys have thoughts on PvP? I mean, you're obviously not playing it so much, but
Dimaga.
No. But I agree. Like this Vision and Mothership, like Blink Stalkers, Mothership core is good.
No. I think we talked a lot about PvZ already. I don't know if there's anything specific left, but yeah, I mean, what we already talked about is like a lot of swarm hosts and then maybe air against that. Do you like the classic standoff that dominates Wings of Liberty right now in the PvZ late game? Is it still an issue? Like the specific Blue Lord Infestor thing, maybe this time with swarm hosts? Is that still like what makes this kind of uncomfortable, or is it more dynamic now?
It's Dima, isn't it like almost more slow paced with the swarm host now?
Yeah, exactly. Because like right now you can defend like a lot of gate pushes and other stuff. No, it depends of what you're opening, of course, but some you can even right now open from 2 base and for gas as well, and have very fast swarm host, and then you can take your sort base, and you still will have bank of a lot of gas, because you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of gas for swarm hosts. So you defend any kind of all-ins from Protoss, and then you just take third base, even maybe forces, depend on map, and turtle with like maximum units, like OP units, like Death Ball. Yeah. But it's still sometimes a lot of problems. There exists some timings when Protoss has like a few Colossus, and he can overwhelm all these like free units, and then you really fucked up as well, so you can lose the game. So I don't know. There is a lot of different timings.
But the late game still gets in this kind of stale position, like you mentioned earlier, where it's just annoying when you shoot swarm hosts and Protoss is just sitting there defending or whatever. Like you're shooting with the Locust, nothing is really happening, so you need to base race or whatever.
Yeah, always harassment and Blink Stalker or something like that, but there will be just. It will be depend on how Zerg is defensive. If he defending very good, then it's like no comeback for Protoss probably.
I actually find it very interesting that you have to go around the swarm host, like that you kind of need to counterattack. I don't think it's such a bad thing. The problem for me is really beating that army composition where there is like a lot of swarm hosts and yes, a lot of units covering them. That's what really bothers me. It feels very, very hard, like you're fighting downhill from the start. Like you're at disadvantage. So like I said, maybe they need to make like one of the Protoss units stronger just against swarm hosts in general, because right now it feels very, very hard to break those contains with a lot of swarm hosts, like 10 plus swarm hosts. If you try to play defensive.
But there's still
not Colossus. I think Colossus is fine.
There is still a lot of timings when Protoss has like very fast +3 upgrade, and they just overwhelm all ground units. And if you have not Corruptors in time, you probably also fucked up, because like Colossus make pretty a lot of damage. So you have like Blink Stalkers and Colossus with +3 on a damage, and Zerg probably have nothing to counter this. It depends on, of course, on how it's going overall, but there is still timings. when Protoss can hit pretty hard, I think.
All right. What I'm interested in is how is ZVZ looking right now?
It's all like before. It's nothing changed, at least for me.
Okay, so how do you play it at the moment?
Like before, like link bailing openings and going to roach infestor, or just link bailing muta, and then going to roach infestor hydra. It's still the same, but sometimes I was trying. I was playing with Shet and also Morrow ZVZ. It was like a locust war where you have a lot of swarm hosts and all these free units. And then I even add more broodlords for making more free units, and I managed to win it. But it's still like it was like so annoying. Like he was burrow all his swarm hosts on one side of map, and I was from other, and just rally, and always all these free units fighting. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I hate this. It's like make almost no sense.
Yeah, I can see that now. I never saw that much like that before with the free units, but with the swarm house coming in, it really looks like it's gonna be, I don't know, kind of.
Yeah, but
kind of
there is
stupid to
really
look
strong. You can do it, especially when you have like good support to them, like infestors, few roaches, maybe spine crawlers, to defend once more time to defend. Then it's like very, very strong. It's very hard to break all this wall of all these units. So, but still opening still the same, because like this farm cost is like really hard to get.
Yeah, I see.
You need infestation pit as well, and it's pretty. And you need this upgrade for 10 seconds for locust, because without them they're not so good, and it's pretty hard to have it.
There is
Sorry.
one thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to ask what you guys think about it. I feel like in Heart of the Swarm, the all-ins are much worse than before, because like in Wings of Liberty, when we started first to play the game, there was a lot of all-ins, and they were very good just because people didn't have experience against them. Like remember 4-Gate being like the best build ever, and then later on everybody got really good against every cheeses. Like if you try to 5-Gate the Terran, they will be much better at scouting it now and defending it than they were before. We don't even see Void Race all-in against Terran anymore. Even against Zerg, 7 gates used to be pretty good. Into Blink. Or even Immortal All-In is not even that successful anymore. So in Heart of the Swarm, in my opinion, with the new units and everything, it's even easier to scout it and also to defend it because of the units. So what do you think? Do you agree with that? And do you think it's better for the game?
I think you even no need to scout, you just make swarm hosts. It's good, yeah, good. But overall, of course, yeah, it is much more better that you didn't have such a lot of all-ins.
Yeah, well, TVP, it seems like with the Mothership core, Protoss can defend all the bio all-ins a lot easier.
Yeah.
Any matchup with Terran, just making Widow Mines is pretty good. Like if you blow up the Void Ray or you blow up an Immortal and an Immortal all-in, like pushes over. Even against Zerg, Zerg's a little weirder. It's kind of hard to stop like a Roach all-in, but the Widow Mines build really fast. I actually had someone rallying Roaches across the map at me while I was building Widow Mines in the center, and it's like 1 Widow Mine for 1 Roach, and you just like, he got to my base, but by the time he got there, he lost like 12 Roaches, so it was a lot easier to defend than beforehand. So yeah, I think I agree with.
Do you guys think that's a good thing, or do you think it makes players too, lazy, just sitting back, like for the spectators and stuff? How do you value that?
No, I think this is better because it will be more macro-oriented builds overall, and it will be much more interesting for viewers who will watch like a lot of multitasking skills guys.
As long as
this is good.
As long as it's the kind of macro games that are back and forth, I think it's good. But I don't. If units like the Swarm Host and the Widow Mine lead to macro games where it's you just split the map and you're just doing nothing for 20 minutes building units, that's not good for me. That's not interesting to watch. It's not very fun to play. So as long as the new units create some kind of dynamic that forces multitasking, then that's really good.
How do you see it, ToD? Because you
I
have
think I'm a little bit afraid because obviously, like, it's a good thing there isn't that many all-ins anymore. But also the all-ins, they kept the game kind of diversified, and they could punish greed. But now if you have like those very safe builds that you can do with every race that will mostly hold almost any kind of all-in, and we only see long macro games, it's going to be very different. You know, like ladder sessions, it's going to be much less games for each player. In tournaments, you're never going to see, or almost never, you will see like some very quick game where somebody just took a big risk and it paid off. So I'm not sure it's going to be for the better if this is what happens. I'm pretty sure there's still some
of course. I mean,
all-ins and stuff, but it seems like it's not very early game all-ins, like big cheeses, like, you know, like 3 racks, no gas, all-in and stuff. Those all have gotten much weaker in my opinion.
Yeah, of course,
Yes.
all-in must exist for sure, because if you have no all-ins works, it makes no sense, of course. But like I was thinking like about like middle game all-in, like when you have like 7 gate and other stuff. But still, against Terran, they still can you proxy double racks and go like 4 racks after that, or just make command center, and it's still the same, at least for now, in TVZ. So I don't know.
So what you're saying is the early game cheeses, all-ins, whatever, are needed so players keep being cautious.
No, I just want to say like there must be some all-ins for sure, because like it make no sense to play all these mind games and other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm agree, but just maybe less of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's important that the threat remains. I can remember like when 1-1-1 Terran versus Protoss was really big. Protoss always needed to play very cautiously and couldn't be too greedy, and that kind of benefited Terran overall. So I think it's a good dynamic. And then I wonder what crazy all-ins we will see. I mean, I can remember in Wings of Liberty there were always new all-ins coming up. And I don't know, it's kind of annoying, but it's also fun to see. So, let's see where we're getting there. Okay, yeah?
Maybe it will be some new all-ins, I don't know, we'll see as well. It was also, I was playing against some Protoss and I was really rushing to Swarm Host as well. And I, like, kind of base trade, he killed my base, but Swarm Host, I was still defending my base, and with like 2 Swarm Hosts, I win a game as well. It was really fast because he has nothing to see. He has no robotics. He was going like 4 gates or something. I don't remember how it was, but it was something like that. Some crazy. Just in the beginning of beta, yeah.
No.
So it's still something you can search for.
Alright. Are there any matchups we still need to address? I think about TVT we talked when we talked about Terran in general, and TVP too. About TVP, in a standard game where the Terran goes bio, do you think it's changed that much at all in Heart of the Swarm, or do you think it's pretty much the same?
Well, on the Terran side, we've only got Battle Hellions and Widow Mines. On the Protoss side, we've got the Oracle and the Tempest. The Tempest might give the Protoss some more late game, if they use the Tempest to siege you out with a Storm, Stalker, Colossus to kind of keep you from getting too close, along with some cannons. But I don't really see them going Tempest very early on. And the Oracle, I kind of already expressed my thoughts on that, but definitely would have to wait and see how that turns out. From the Terran side of things, Widow Mines might be okay on the defense, but probably not. And you don't really contain Protoss in most situations in TVP. Like it's very dynamic in terms of the positioning, where you always want to try and get the concave and you're maneuvering with the Ghost and trying to get your Vikings in position to snipe the Colossus. So it's not like in TVZ where you kind of like siege a position and then you slow push. A lot of the times that doesn't really work in TVP. You have to like go somewhere else. But it might help with preventing backstabs, and you might be able to, like kind of what I was saying with TVZ, where you like push forward and then put the Widow Mines down a little in front of you, and like get them to attack into it. But with Colossus and Observers, I don't know how reasonable that would be, but maybe you can snipe the Observers with the Vikings and deny their detection so that they're like forced to go over the Widow Mines. Battle Hellions don't... I don't know. Todd, what do you think of Battle Hellions?
Not much. I haven't seen them much. Once I played Loner and he made like some kind of big mech push with Battle Hellions, but it didn't go too well for him, so I don't think they're that good against Protoss, but I'm not sure. But I wanted to ask you, do you know what's the range of the mine that it can see?
It's like 5, I think.
It's very small, actually.
Yeah, it's not big. It's not big.
Because I feel like it's really hard to push against mines. And one day I was playing Terran, and my observer just got in range of some mine.
Oh yeah.
And I was like just barely seeing it, and he scans. And I was thinking, what is he doing? He doesn't have Vikings yet. Why is he scanning? And then suddenly the mine got off from the ground and blew up my observer. So I think this is pretty cool for Terran, like to be able to do this.
Yeah, that's nice.
And mine didn't work to invisible units?
No, he scanned. He scanned.
Yeah,
it
but
in
I was asking.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
In Brood War they could see, right? In Brood War,
in Brood War they would detect Dark Templar for you.
But only for themselves, like they didn't actually decloak.
They would just like
could
jump
attack.
up and attack it, but then if you didn't kill it, you still couldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
that's
we
kind
need to realize like those mines are very different than the Brood War mines. A lot of people want to use them like Brood War mines go.
Yeah.
Like, more, I feel like he really wants to use them like Brood War mines. Just goes mech, and he wants to push with like mines and tanks. But I guess he started using them like very well defensively now, but still, like going mech every game like this and just doing like tanks and third base, fourth base. I'm not sure like right now this is good. Terran will probably need the Warhounds to be able to pull this off.
But you know that like Battle Hellion right now it's bio, so you can probably heal them from Medivac.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's true.
They're just a fire bed now.
Yeah, well, no, they're a bad fire bed because they don't benefit from bio upgrades. Like,
yeah.
They make it a bio, they're like, alright, let's make it bio so they can heal it with medevacs, but you only build medevacs when you're going bio. But let's not have it benefit from infantry upgrades, so it's like, you have a 3-3 Marine Marauder ball with 0-0 Hellions, like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But
no, you can just go mech and get some Battle Hellions and just add some more medivacs. It's not that big of...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Blue Flame is really good damage. I was more worried about the armor, because the stuff that they're tanking is like Zealots and Zerglings, and armor is really good against those.
Yeah, makes sense.
Alright. I kind of want to wrap up. It's pretty late here, and for Dimaga too. So the Americans thought to have more leeway. But before wrapping up, I have some questions left, but I'm not gonna address all of them. I just want to ask, two more. For ToD mostly, because you play full time. How do you think playing it full time benefits you in terms of competition? Because are there enough good players for you in the beta, or do you meet a lot of people that you can just like smash and it's almost a waste of time?
I don't think it really benefits me. I just got a little bit sick of Wings of Liberty and needed a break, so I played a lot of Heart of the Swarm. Obviously, the tournaments are still mostly on Wings of Liberty, so I'm going to revert back from now.
Oh.
But yeah, I just played Heart of the Swarm for fun and to also like not play a completely different game than StarCraft until now. And as far as the players go, I don't think there was so many players playing the beta. I played a lot against some gold or silver platinum just because nobody else was searching.
Yeah.
But hopefully it will improve. I think they were going to give out a bunch of keys. But I think most players, they just stay where the money is at, so that would be Wings of Liberty. They play a couple tournaments here and there on Heart of the Swarm, but there aren't that many just yet.
Okay.
So it's hard to completely switch. Like you can switch entirely for now, unless you stream a lot.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, it almost feels to me that Moro is really 100% on HOTS right now. Like, maybe he will switch back, but he's playing so much. Like every day he streams like 8 hours. I'm not even. He probably
and he only
can
goes
stream
mech.
Yeah, and he plays the same every game. It's crazy. Maybe it's some sick mind game that when he plays HOTS tournaments, he's playing something completely different, like goody mind games or something.
I think it's easy to have any investments because he thinks that later on mech is going to be viable for sure. Yeah. So he wants to practice it now that it's not as good as it will be later on, and just get a lot of games with it, narrow down some timings, and then as soon as mech will be more viable, he will be really good in Heart of the Swarm or like his release. And I think he was pretty sick and tired of Wings of Liberty too. Yeah. Like if you play the game too much, you get worn out, and then you just want to play something different. Yeah.
Let's see how it will go for him. It's kind of a gamble, but yeah. Okay, last question for everybody. To wrap this up. What do you view as the biggest positive thing and the biggest flaw of Heart of the Swarm? Like, what's really cool? What do you view as really nice and you enjoy and you look forward to? And what do you think Blizzard really needs to work on in Heart of the Swarm?
For me, it was Swarm Host from the beginning, when Lacus was 16 damage from the beginning, and every single range upgrade was +2. So in total, you have like 22 damage per one fucking Lacus, which was crazy. It was just too much.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, it was really fun to playing something new, and like this was really fun, and I love it. And especially when like Warhound, it was also sick. Yeah, it was nice as well. So I just like all this new experience.
Nice. Worst thing for you? Like what you really don't like? Free units, or is it something else?
Yeah, probably free units. I just don't love it. It's like make no sense for StarCraft.
Okay. QXC?
The thing that I like the most is the same as Dima, just the newness of it all. It creates a lot of new, interesting interactions. You have to figure a lot of the game out again, which is really cool. And things that I don't like, the things that I really don't like are the things that don't seem to fit with StarCraft as a game, whether that's free units or not addressing like fundamental problems with units like Reapers, or leaving in abilities like Strike Cannon, which is so useless. I mean, it's never used. It's never ever used because it's so bad. And actually, the existence of Strike Cannon is a weakness, so that Thors can be feedback by High Templar. Like things like that bother me a lot when I think about the game, and I think about like how can we make it interesting, how can we make it better, and there's problems like that that are not addressed, and then they add in abilities that don't really make sense with the game. Those are the things that bother me the most. But the newness of everything is really cool, and I'm really excited to see where they take it from here.
For me, it's pretty much the same. I really like that there was new units, new features and everything, but what bothered me the most is also almost the same, but it's mostly that Blizzard also, like, they patch the game very quickly and they only listen to the advice of like 1 or 2 persons. And I'm not sure that's the right way to go about patching the game. I think you need to ask like a lot of people, a lot of pro gamers what they think, and then you need to really think about what you're going to do. Like not take impulsive decisions. So I'm not sure that they're doing the best job with that. They removed the Warhound completely. It was good and bad. It was good because it was really broken. It was kind of ruining the beta for me. But it's bad because for Terran, like what do they have really now as far as new units go? Like they don't have much. They can't really go mech. So I feel like we are a little bit wasting some time there because we are kind of far from what the game will be like when it's released. So I wish they would be faster with the patching and more efficient. I guess just consult a lot of players and then from what they say, try to form an opinion and just go from there. When the latest patch was released, I think it was about the Mothership core. I read one thread on the Blizzard forums, and it was basically like Moro had suggested a little bit of everything of what was added for the Mothership core, like the way it was changed. And I thought this is just a little bit wrong, like just listening to one player. That's what bothers me. Also, yeah, the face shield for the Oracle. I think Robbie suggested that.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. It's good they suggest things and that Blizzard is listening. But they should consult more players in general, because like one person can't really just decide what should be done. Just talk to a lot of players, and just make the best decision. It will be the best.
Nice. Okay. Thanks a lot for everything and all the cool opinions we had. We will of course be back next week, and for now, give your shoutouts, Twitter, whatever you want to shout out. To teams, etc. Starting with QXC, where can we find you and follow you?
Sure. Check me out on Twitter. I'm ColeQXC, COLQXC. Facebook QXC, Twitch TV, ColeQXC. Check out my team, Complexity Gaming, and check out the house. This is the Gamma Gamers house. Big thanks to them for making that happen.
Awesome. Dimaga?
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys to invite me to such show. I really enjoy it. Like, I always enjoy when you're talking about StarCraft. It's just like my way of life, and
awesome.
I really like it. Yeah, so thank you. And of course to my team MTW and all our sponsors. And of course follow me on Twitter as well, at MTW Dimaga. And what I have else, Facebook probably, Dimaga SC, and own at MTW Dimaga as well. So that's all.
Nice. ToD.
You guys can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/rootod, ROOTOD. My Twitch stream, where I stream pretty often, almost every day these days. Well, maybe not the last 2 days, but I will stream more later. It's twitch.tv/YoanM, YOANM. And my Facebook is facebook.com/YoanMerlo. I would like to thank my team for their support, Root Gaming. Check out our sponsors, RussiaOrderTees.com and Twitch TV. And thanks to you for inviting me to do this show. It was pretty fun.
Sure. Thank you for finding it fun. Yeah, I'm Simon, aka Drool. Follow me at DroolSC on Twitter. And this was Heart of the Beta, episode 1 on Definitive Esports. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will upload the VOD and everything, maybe MP3 if we can handle it, ASAP to YouTube and the TL thread. That's where you can find it. And I hope you tune in next week. And if you have any suggestions, feedback, send it on TL, Twitter, wherever you want. That's it. Good night. I hope you guys had fun, and I see you next week.